Welcome back to the deep dive. So, we live in this world just swimming in data, right?
Absolutely. More than ever before.
And just knowing what's happening. It feels like that's not really enough anymore.
hmm Context is key.
Exactly. Understanding where something's happening and what that location really means, that's becoming critical.
Definitely. Think about something complex like predicting where a wildfire might spread.
Or trying to get resources efficiently across a big city during, I don't know, a major flood.
Right. In those cases, the where isn't just like a detail, it's everything.
Yeah, it's the absolute core of the problem.
And for a long time, figuring out that where deeply, that meant, well, a lot of manual work. Poring over maps, data layers,
Hours and hours, I bet.
days, weeks sometimes. But today, we're diving deep into something that's really changing that. It's called GeoAI.
GeoAI. Okay, so it's this blend you're saying. Artificial intelligence.
Mixed with geographic information systems, yeah,
So
GIS.
it's basically AI,
hmm
but an AI that gets placed, like
Yeah.
location, geography.
In a really smart way, almost like it has intuition about space.
Okay, so our mission today then is to unpack this. What is GeoAI, really?
Yeah.
Why is it suddenly popping up everywhere, transforming fields?
And we want to look at some real-world examples because there are some surprising ways it's being used already.
Right, show its potential, both what it's doing now and maybe what's coming down the line.
Exactly. We want to show you how this tech blend is kind of like a shortcut, a way to get really well-informed about the world spatially.
Seeing patterns in space in these huge data sets that just keep growing.
Patterns that were maybe invisible before or just took too long to find. It helps us perceive these intricate spatial connections.
All right, let's dig in then. What is GeoAI? Because, my first thought is just AI on a map,
Uh-huh.
but I suspect it's more sophisticated than that simple picture. What does that understanding of place really mean? Why is it such a big step?
It really is more nuanced, yeah. It's not just AI sitting on a map. It's AI truly fused with geospatial data,
Hmm.
with the science of geography, the technology of GIS.
Fused.
We're talking machine learning, computer vision, natural language processing, all applied through a spatial lens.
So the key difference is the AI genuinely understands where.
Precisely. It gets location, geography, movement, spatial relationships, how things connect or cluster in space,
So it's automating the analysis of spatial patterns.
and then making decisions based on that understanding, decisions deeply informed by location.
That feels like a fundamental shift from just looking at a map.
It is, because it allows the AI to interpret really complex spatial stuff.
Like what?
Well, precise coordinates, sure, but also things like irregular polygons, think property lines or ecological zones, or complex road networks.
Stuff that isn't just neat points on a grid.
Exactly. And then it learns from dynamic geographic patterns, how cities grow, how traffic flows, even subtle environmental shifts over time.
And that learning enhances the decision making.
Massively. In ways that were honestly impossible before, or just incredibly slow and manual.
Okay, so the value then becomes pretty obvious. It speeds up understanding
For businesses looking for opportunities, yeah. Or for assessing environmental impact.
or managing risks for operations, maybe.
Definitely. And the time saving is huge. Think about extracting information.
From what kind of sources?
All sorts. Satellite images, video feeds, drone footage, even point clouds.
Point clouds, those are the 3D maps, right? Millions of dots.
Yeah, dense 3D representations of space. And even text like reports or social media posts with location tags. GeoAI automates pulling out the key info, classifying it, detecting features.
So less manual sifting through data.
Way less.
Yeah.
Which leads to, more accurate predictions, finding clusters faster, forecasting outcomes better.
It puts that deep location intelligence right into the decision process, quickly.
Exactly, at speed and scale.
All right, so we've got a handle on what GeoAI is. Now let's talk about where it's actually making waves today.
Because it's not just theory.
Right, it's out there solving real problems, all sorts of different areas, and finding these patterns in, data that's exploding in size.
Yeah, it really is. We've got some fascinating examples. Let's start with, say, conservation, environmental monitoring.
Okay.
GeoAI is totally changing how we monitor wildlife, like tracking beluga whale populations using aerial surveys. The AI can analyze the images much faster and more consistently than humans.
Wow. Belugas, what else?
Well, Combine GeoAI with drones and new kinds of sensors, and suddenly we're filling in big gaps on the global map of life, finding species where we didn't know they existed.
That's incredible. Are there specific animals where it's made a huge difference, like really hard to track ones?
Oh, absolutely. Think about snow leopards.
Ah, yeah, super elusive.
Exactly. Solitary, vast, rugged terrain. Tracking them traditionally was, well, painstaking. Months of fieldwork, maybe you get lucky, maybe not.
So how does GeoAI help there?
It can analyze huge amounts of satellite imagery,
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for really subtle clues, tiny changes in the landscape, potential tracks, maybe even thermal signatures from orbit.
To find likely habitats or paths.
Precisely. Across enormous areas you just couldn't cover on foot. It's monitoring their whole ecosystem at a scale that was unimaginable before.
Amazing. And you mentioned environmental crime.
Yeah, there are global initiatives now using GeoAI to pool data, analyze patterns of illegal logging or poaching, and help law enforcement coordinate efforts across borders. It's about spatial understanding for, the greater good.
Okay, from wildlife to human safety. Disaster response seems like a place where GeoAI could be, well, life-saving.
It really is. Every second counts there, right?
Absolutely.
So after a disaster, an earthquake, a hurricane GeoAI can look at aerial images, satellite photos,
And quickly spot damage.
very quickly. Damaged buildings, roads blocked by debris, often within hours, sometimes minutes.
And then the crucial next step.
Routing. Based on that real-time damage map, it calculates the best, fastest routes for first responders to get to people who need help.
Cutting down response times dramatically.
Exactly. It's not just seeing the damage. It's enabling a faster, smarter, life-saving response.
That impact must be huge. What else in public safety?
Well, hurricane preparedness is a big one. Better track forecasting, more accurate flood risk mapping helps communities prepare or evacuate more effectively.
Makes sense.
And predicting things before they happen, like traffic accidents, analyzing historical data, road conditions, time of day. GeoAI can flag high-risk intersections or stretches of road.
So cities can intervene?
No,
Say,
yeah.
Signal timing, maybe?
Or increase patrols, yeah. Proactive safety. One major city used it to optimize their fire department deployment, figuring out the best places to station engines based on where fires were most likely to occur and response times.
Wow. And you mentioned conflict zones.
Yes, organizations use it to analyze satellite images and map data to document the human toll in conflicts, providing objective evidence. And it was definitely used during the recent pandemic.
How so?
Tracking the spread in near real time, modeling outbreaks, guiding public health decisions on where to focus resources or implement measures, spatial understanding was key.
Okay, let's shift to our cities. Urban planning, infrastructure. These complex systems seem ripe for GeoAI.
Totally. It's really bringing public works into the 21st century. Cities are using it to get a handle on their resources.
Like water pipes, power lines.
Exactly. And forecasting when infrastructure might fail, predicting road deterioration with pretty startling accuracy.
So they can fix things before they break?
Yeah.
And spend maintenance money smarter.
That's the goal. It also spots land use changes automatically from imagery, new buildings going up, sometimes even illegal construction.
Which lets planners be proactive, not reactive.
Right. Allocate resources, adjust zoning, plan services ahead of time.
And this digital twin idea for cities, is that GeoAI?
A big part of it, yes. Creating these super detailed virtual models of cities.
Like for revitalizing an old downtown or
Yeah.
planning a big renewal project.
Exactly. You can test scenarios virtually, see how changing traffic flow affects congestion, or where to best place new parks or housing, like a major UK city is doing for its renewal. It avoids costly real-world mistakes.
Very cool. And housing affordability.
Yeah, GeoAI-powered maps can pull together diverse data income levels, property values, zoning laws, transit access to reveal the hidden realities of housing crises, giving policymakers actual data to work with.
And even road cracks.
Sounds small, but yeah. Analyzing street-level imagery, like the kind Google uses for Street View, to automatically detect and quantify cracks in the pavement.
So the city knows exactly where to send repair crews first.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Prioritizing work efficiently, preventing potholes before they form.
Okay, let's zoom out again. Natural resources, agriculture, huge areas, big challenges.
And huge potential for GeoAI. It's driving precision agriculture forward.
How?
Things like automatically detecting invasive weeds from drone imagery, or spotting crop diseases early across thousands of acres.
Letting farmers target treatments just where needed, saving money and reducing chemical use.
Exactly, and forestry too, instead of sending teams out to measure trees manually.
Which takes forever.
Right. GeoAI can estimate tree volumes, even identify species from aerial or satellite data, Much faster, much cheaper.
And crop yields.
That's a big one. Advanced GeoAI models are forecasting yields now. They combine microclimate data, maybe info from soil sensors, historical patterns,
To predict how much a field will produce.
with increasing accuracy, yeah, which is a massive deal for farmers and also for things like federal crop insurance programs. It brings more stability.
Directly impacting our food system and economy. Okay, switching gears to business. Retail. Location, 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 right?
It's still the mantra, and GeoAI is giving retailers a serious edge.
How are they using it?
Machine learning models analyze tons of data. Foot traffic patterns from phone data, maybe, social media sentiment in an area, customer demographics.
To predict how well a potential new store might do.
Exactly. Predicting store performance by location with pretty amazing accuracy. It helps them choose the best sites, plan their markets, target their advertising spend way more effectively.
Streamlining supply chains too, I guess.
Absolutely. Making sure the right products are in the right places based on predicted demand.
And I heard you mention halo forecasting earlier. That sounds interesting, especially now with online and physical stores.
It is. Halo forecasting tries to measure the impact a physical store has on online sales in the area around it.
Ah, so opening a store might boost website visits or orders nearby.
Right. GeoAI helps quantify that halo effect, so businesses get a more complete picture of how their physical presence influences their whole market online and off.
That's a sophisticated view. Okay, one more area. National mapping, intelligence,
Yeah.
huge data volumes, high stakes, need for speed.
Absolutely critical applications here. GeoAI is fundamentally changing how fast they can operate.
Speeding up map updates.
Dramatically. National mapping agencies, the ones who create official maps, can now update their geographic information systems, their core databases, in hours.
Instead of...
Months. Previously, it used to take months for changes on the ground to appear on official maps.
Wow, and you had a building footprint example.
Yeah, it's pretty startling. Extracting the outlines of all buildings across a large area, what used to take a team of 5 people working 5 hours a day for a whole year,
Yep.
can now be done for tens of thousands of buildings in about 3 minutes using GeoAI.
3 minutes.
That's
Isn't that just faster? It's a different
It's a
dimension.
total revolution in productivity, yeah.
What does that speed unlock for them?
It means they can react to events almost instantly. Map changes after a natural disaster, track development, provide updated intelligence in near real time.
And for intelligence agencies.
Similar benefits. Speeding up how they extract vital information from masses of data images, video, sensor readings, identifying patterns, spotting changes, supporting what's called activity-based intelligence.
So analyzing events, movements.
Entities, surveillance feeds, remotely sensed data. GeoAI automates a lot of the initial processing and detection.
Freeing up human analysts.
Exactly. Letting them focus on the higher level thinking, the interpretation, the decision-making, instead of just drowning in raw data.
Incredible stuff. Okay, so we've covered the what's and the where it's used. Let's peek under the hood. How is it powered? What AI bits are doing the work? And what's next?
Sure. Under the hood, you've got core AI capabilities. Object detection is a big one.
Finding things in images, buildings, roads, cars.
Exactly, from satellite photos, drone, video, whatever. Then there's predictive analytics.
Forecasting things.
Geospatial things, yeah, like predicting where water pipes are most likely to break based on age and soil type.
Right.
Or forecasting localized asthma rates based on pollution and demographics. Even predicting crime hotspots.
Using spatial patterns to see the future, essentially.
In a probabilistic way, yes. And the third piece is pattern detection, finding statistically significant clusters or emerging hotspots. Maybe unusually high concentrations of 911 calls in one area, or identifying stretches of road with a surprisingly high accident rate, things that might not be obvious just looking at raw numbers. It gives you deeper insight into why things happen, why they happen.
And the tools to do this? They're becoming easier to use, not just for PhDs in GIS anymore.
That's a really key trend. Accessibility is improving dramatically. Take natural language processing, NLP.
Talking to the computer.
Pretty much. Allowing users to ask spatial questions just by typing or speaking normally.
Like, show me houses likely to flood near schools in Miami.
Exactly like that. Getting back not just a list, but an interactive map, maybe a report, generated automatically in seconds. This kind of interface is rapidly becoming part of major GIS platforms and linking up with large language models.
That honestly feels like a revolution for anyone who needs spatial answers but isn't a mapping expert.
It lowers the barrier massively. Plus, there's a a growing number of pre-trained GeoAI models available.
Models already taught to do specific tasks.
Yeah, like finding buildings or classifying land cover. And more user-friendly tools are appearing, so people can start using GeoAI on their own data without needing deep AI coding skills or having to build everything from scratch.
Okay, so if that's today,
Yeah.
what's the future look like? What should we be watching for next in GeoAI?
Well, one big trend is towards low-code or even no-code spatial AI platforms.
Making it even easier.
Think drag and drop interfaces. You visually connect different steps, data input, processing, AI model, output map to build quite complex spatial machine learning workflows without writing code.
Very visual, very intuitive.
What else? LLM native GIS, that's large language model native.
So going beyond just asking questions.
Yeah, imagine interacting with your maps and data entirely through conversation, telling the system, analyze this region, find areas suitable for solar farms based on slope and proximity to substations, and generate a report, all through chat.
Having a real dialogue with your geographic data, that's powerful.
Definitely. And maybe the most dynamic is real-time geospatial AI.
Processing data as it comes in.
Exactly. Streaming data from satellites, drones, IoT sensors, feeding it directly into live AI models.
For instant insights.
Instant dynamic understanding. Imagine tracking a wildfire spread second by second on a map, or seeing the immediate impact of a storm surge, allowing for lightning-fast responses as events unfold.
That real-time capability changes everything for emergency management. Okay, this is all incredibly exciting tech, but let's ground it a bit. The path forward. What does this mean for people? For the professionals already in the GIS field?
Yeah, for GIS pros, it's a pretty big shift. Less focus on, say, manually digitizing features on a map.
Which GeoAI can automate.
Right. And more focus on designing automated workflows, managing AI models, validating their outputs, interpreting complex results, integrating different systems.
So moving up the value chain. From mapping to analytics and strategy.
That's a good way to put it. Predictive, even prescriptive analytics advising on the best course of action based on spatial models. But it's crucial to stress, GeoAI isn't replacing these experts.
It's augmenting them.
Profoundly augmenting them, giving them superpowers, essentially, to tackle bigger, harder problems much faster than before.
So it's about enhancing skills, not eliminating jobs. What about everyone else, those of us who aren't GIS specialists? How does GeoAI democratize spatial intelligence for us?
Well, that natural language interaction we talked about is key, making complex location analysis feel as easy as doing a web search.
Just ask your question, get your map-based answer.
Pretty much. And think about automated map generation or intelligent dashboards that don't just show data but tell a spatial story.
Making the insights clear even if you don't know GIS jargon.
Exactly. Empowering people in business, government, research, nonprofits, anyone, really with powerful spatial insights they couldn't easily access before. It brings the power of where to many more people.
That sounds incredibly promising.
Yeah.
But powerful tools often come with challenges, right? What are the hurdles or potential pitfalls we need to watch out for?
There are definitely things to consider. For the GIS professionals, there's a real need to upskill. They need to get comfortable with data science concepts, AI model integration, Python scripting perhaps. Continuous learning is key.
Okay, a skills evolution. What about for the non-experts, the newly empowered users?
The risk there is maybe oversimplification. Spatial patterns can be real complex. A slick map might hide important nuances.
We're using a tool without fully understanding the underlying data or assumptions.
Precisely. Misinterpreting results is a danger if you lack context. And core GIS principles, things like map projections, scale, data accuracy, they still matter hugely for doing sound analysis.
So democratization is great, but needs to come with some level of spatial literacy.
Or at least an awareness of the potential pitfalls. It's about responsible use of these powerful tools. Understanding the data's limitations and the model's potential biases is critical.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today, it feels like GeoAI is more than just a new technology. It's really a fundamental shift.
A paradigm shift, yeah. It's changing how we see, understand, and interact with our world.
Making spatial thinking smarter, faster, more accessible.
And ultimately more actionable for pretty much everyone.
We're moving beyond just knowing where something happened.
Exactly. GeoAI is helping AI start to understand why it matters there. The context, the relationships, the implications of place.
So the final thought for you, our listeners, what will you discover? What questions will you ask when every where potentially comes with an insightful why that AI can help you explore.
It opens up a lot of possibilities.
It certainly does. Thanks for diving deep with us today.